Collingwood legend Gordon Coventry was the only VFL player with 1,000 goals to his name for 40 years. He was finally joined on football's Everest in 1974 by Doug Wade, a premiership player at both Geelong and North Melbourne. Welcome, Doug.
Thanks, Mike. It's good to be here.
You should have played for Melbourne, shouldn't you?
Yeah, I should have, yeah.
Tell us that story. My understanding was you played practice games with the Demons in 61?
Yes, early 61. And I was met up in Horsham at the bank by Jim Cardwell.
Yes.
And another recruiting officer, and left a Form 4 in those days, a Form 4. Once you signed that, you were there for life to that club.
Yep.
My parents lived in Chappell, about 50k away, and I said, look, I'll take it up to them to get them to sign it, because I was only 17 at the time. And I never did, because Bob Davis had bypassed me and went straight to Mum and Dad. And
really?
Yeah.
Did you play several practice games at Melbourne, or were you generally just briefly?
I just only played one, I think.
One? Yeah. How'd you go?
Kick 5 against...
Did you?
Yeah, against their boom recruit came down from Wodonga, I think, Gilchrist.
Okay. So you kicked 5 in a practice game for Melbourne?
Yeah.
And they didn't show that was...
No, they wanted me.
Oh, they did?
Yes,
Okay.
they did. No, they definitely wanted me, but Dad felt that Geelong was a better place for me.
Your nickname at Geelong, Douglas, do you remember it?
Puddin.
Puddin, yeah. Was it
Bob Davis gave him that.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You were sort of roly-poly.
Oh, yeah, always, yeah.
What weight did you play at?
About 13.5 stone, which I don't know what that is now. What is it?
You're forgiven for that. About 13.5 stone.
Is it? Yeah.
Magnificent career at 2 clubs, particularly at Geelong.
Yeah.
You won 4 common medals?
Yeah, 3 at Geelong, 1 at North Melbourne.
You know, you're not big on stats, I know that, but do you know that you led your team's goal-kicking list 14 times? You were the top goal kicker at Geelong and North Melbourne a total of 14 times.
Yeah, I played 15 years, so yeah.
Amazing,
right. Yeah.
Amazing. Now, the missing year,
yes,
probably the worst kick in AFL history, won the goal kicking at Geelong. Did he?
You know how many he scored?
We're talking about Gareth Andrews.
Gareth Andrews. He brought in zoning, Gareth Andrews, because every time we got the ball, we used to zone off. We knew it was going somewhere, but didn't know where. He kicked 30-something goals.
There you go. So you had a knee injury, did you?
Yeah, cartilage.
Cartilage. Yeah. Operation?
No.
Okay.
No, not that time.
There was a year 1969. Would you regard that as your best year?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. You kicked 127 goals from 21 games.
Yeah.
Amazing. That's 6 a game, obviously.
Was it?
Yeah.
I'm not good at mathematics.
No, but that's an amazing return.
Yeah. Well, we had a good side, and it was, and I think we had a good year too, as much as the weather, because in those days, now it doesn't matter whether it rains or not, the grounds are good. But in those days, it used to get very muddy.
You were famous for your torpedo punt, weren't you?
Yes.
Now, you would kick that from anywhere, would you not? You kicked it if you were 10 metres out or 100.
Always, yeah. Either a torpedo or a drop kick.
Yeah, okay. No drop punt?
No, not until I went to North.
Yeah.
And they banned the drop kick and the torpedo. Not the torpedo, but yeah, they couldn't kick a drop kick.
Yeah. And that was Barassa's instruction?
Yeah, but I couldn't kick a drop punt. I don't know why. I'd never done it in my life. Was the ability to kick the torp as well as you did, was that natural or were you taught? And only by my father and my brothers, and some of my sisters was good at it too. Did
you ever miscue? It is a kick, it's fraught with danger for the modern player, isn't it? But did you ever miscue?
Not very often.
No.
The modern player, they do it incorrectly.
Do they?
They believe that you have to hold it on that slant to... and on an angle to get the spinning, you don't have to do.
So is it in the hands? Is it?
I held it almost like a drop kick.
Yeah.
And it's it's in letting it go with your right hand that you just move it a little bit and turn it, and then
How far do you reckon you kicked the torp?
70.
70 metres.
Oh, yeah, I could.
Wow.
In the championship kick,
World of Sport.
Yeah. I kicked the drop kick to win it. 70, just over 70.
Wow.
I think it might have been yards in those days.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
The 63 premiership, I suspect that's the highlight, is it? The first one for you, and you were young, Geelong. Well,
it was a highlight. No, I think this... Look, I had a fantastic 12 years at Geelong, and 63, I was too young to really appreciate what we had achieved. And, most of us were only in the early 20s.
Yeah.
We were a very young side, we're not anymore, but we're a very young side. But To go to North Melbourne and to win their first ever premiership in 1975 was the highlight.
Was it? Yeah. We'll talk about the move from Geelong to North Melbourne shortly. I want to stay with 63. Yeah. Tell me about the atmosphere in the rooms before the game. Bobby Davis is the coach.
Yeah.
Happy Hammond's in the room in his check jacket, is that right?
Yeah, it was all his check jacket. He had a black cat mascot with him.
Yeah.
There was a bloke playing a piano accordion in the corner.
That was at your request, wasn't it?
Well, it was, yes. I don't know why.
Why would you suggest to the coach that we should perhaps have a piano accordion?
Well, it used to say to me, I used to, and I still do, play a button accordion. Dad used to play a button accordion, and I liked the sound of it, and it relaxes before a game. I thought there'd be something that would be handy.
Have a bit of roll out the barrel, did you?
In my days, I did, yeah, a little bit of
that. You were a very good side in 63, weren't you?
We were, yeah.
Bobby Davis used to say that the team was so good that the only instruction he gave you was to bring the right coloured shorts.
He did that every week, Bobby. Bob was just the most fantastic guy and coach you could imagine. He just believed in his players and just said, look, go out. What Bob wanted was everybody to enjoy football, not only the players but the people watching as well. And so we had to play that brand of football.
Yeah. And it was free flowing, wasn't it? Yeah. Beautiful kicks, direct football.
Yeah.
He had some great players.
I think Geelong still do it today. They're still doing
I think they play the best brand of footy. Polly Farmer played in that team.
Yeah.
Sam Newman has always said he's the best player that he ever saw and played with. Do you share that view?
It's the best player I've ever played with, yes. I think Wayne Carey would be his equal.
Yeah, okay.
Because I watched North Melbourne a lot after I finished playing with them, and I thought Wayne Carey was just the most match-winning footballer I've ever seen.
Yeah, I agree. That's a view I share too. Yeah. Tell me why Farmer was so good. I mean, I understand his preparation was meticulous. He was brave. His skills were very good. But was it a mix of all that, or was there something just unique about him?
He just had. He was a guy, 6'2" on one side and about 6'1.5" on the other. He had a limp.
He did too. Yeah.
But he could get up in the air. He was the best kick. He at end to end, which was basically what we did in those days, just kick end to end for training. He was always looking for Billy Goggin to handball it to when he took the mark. He'd take screamers over the back of you. His shots for goal never missed. He was a great ruckman. He was just everything. Yeah.
And he used to give it to Billy Goggin.
Colin Rice.
Yep. Yeah. And Goggin would steam out of the middle and stab past to the leading full forward, your good self.
Yeah.
He didn't miss very often, Billy, did he?
No, he didn't. Never missed. No. He was fantastic, Billy.
Yeah. 67, Doug, you play in the grand final against Richmond. Very contentious decision involving the man that you played on, Freddie Swift, the late Richmond fullback.
Yeah.
Were you close enough to know whether he in fact marked the ball over the goal line?
No, but the bloke behind him was. The bloke when he was sitting on the fence when he marked it would have known. No, I wasn't, but everybody thought he'd marked it behind.
But how far away were you?
About 20 metres away.
Yeah.
But to his credit, as soon as he marked it, he just took off.
Yeah.
So the umpire didn't have a chance, or nobody had a chance. He didn't go back. Did
it cost you the flag?
No, I don't think so. Yeah. I think a couple of shots a goal after that cost us the flag. But they were a very good side, Richmond, in those years.
Doug, you're a most amiable man. I think everyone who knows you says that. But do you agree that you may have been petulant in your days at Geelong if things didn't go your way?
Please explain. Petulant? What's that?
Well, you could be a bit sooky. Get a bit angry?
I get a bit angry, yeah. Well, you had to, because you had no... It would be magnificent playing today as a full forward. I mean, they'd only... In our days, the most that a coach would tell a fullback to do was just, no matter what you do, just stop him marking the ball. You can push him, you can shove him, you can hit his hand, or, if you can't mark it or punch the ball, just hit his hand.
Yeah.
We can't do that now. But in those days, so I just had to stand up for myself.
When you started at Geelong, Doug, there was a story at the time that because you were a strict Methodist family, that you wouldn't play practice games on Sunday. There were no AFL games on Sundays then, but
no.
Is that true?
That is true, yeah. Well, we didn't... I think it came to light when we went to America and played Melbourne over in America in 1963, and there was some matches played on the Sunday, and I didn't play.
On religious grounds?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Little did I know it was Monday back here. I could have played.
You could have played. The 62 preliminary final. I'm sure you remember it vividly.
Yes, I do.
Geelong are playing Carlton.
Well, it's a replay.
Yeah, replay of the preliminary final.
Yeah.
You've got 6 goals to your name.
Yeah.
The ball comes in, kicked up in the air to you and your opponent, Peter Barry.
Yeah, up very high, yeah.
Up very high. You marked the ball, did you?
I did.
You did?
Yeah.
Umpire Jack Irving comes in.
I was in front.
In front, that's right. Umpire Jack Irving takes it off you and gives it to Peter Barry and says, you grabbed him on the shorts.
Yes.
That's true?
Well, how could I take the mark at the same time?
Yeah. Did that decide the game, that decision?
Well, it could have. I was only about 70 metres out, so I was...
It's well within your reach.
No, I was about 30 metres out, right in front. Yeah, and I kicked 6 straight.
Did you have hold of his shorts?
No, I held him with my body.
Really?
I stood my ground and took the mark in front, yeah.
So there was no holding?
None whatsoever, no.
So what possessed Jack to...
He still, to the day he died, he still said I held his shorts.
Yeah.
I became very good friends with Jack.
You were a great mate, a teammate and great mate of Sammy Newman.
Yeah.
You played a lot of footy with him.
Yeah, been his mate for life.
Yeah, you went into business with him selling hair products, driving around Victoria.
I put inverted commas in each end of the name business.
The hair products weren't a great success with you.
No, they weren't. No. Looked after Sam.
Yeah. You are very fond of Sam, aren't you?
Oh, he's a great bloke.
I share that view, but what to those cynics, and there are a lot of them,
yeah.
What makes Sam the bloke that's so appealing to you?
He's just a good, fun bloke. And the person you see on television, and when he stands up, is not the person that I know him privately.
What about some of the antics that you used to get up to? I mean, in footy or out of footy? Is there any?
We had a fantastic 11 years together selling products.
Yeah. Did you just go to the shops, or was there occasionally any knock on the doors of private homes?
No. If we did, I'm not telling you. No, we didn't. No.
Let's fast forward to the end of your career at Geelong, a great career. There was a rule called the 10-year rule.
Yeah.
Players who had given 10 years service to a club were eligible to move to a club of their choice. You, Barry Davis from Essendon and John Rantall from South Melbourne all went to North Melbourne. Was that difficult to leave the club that you'd spent so much time with?
Well, I'd spent 12 years at Geelong. It was very, very difficult, but I was living in Melbourne at the time. Both Sam and I were both living in Melbourne. I'd had a separation with my wife then, who's the mother of my 2 girls, and the money they offered me to join them paid off the house for Sam.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So, and that was one of the reasons. And Barassi was another one who was going to be coach of North Melbourne.
That appealed to you?
That appealed to me. I liked Alan Arlett, I liked Ron Joseph and Albert Mentallo, all that group. And but the $20,000 sliding across the boardroom table was the one. And in 1973, that was a lot of money.
So with 20 grand, was that the sign-on fee? Was that
it was a sign-on fee.
Sign-on fee. And do you remember what they paid you for the year?
10.
10.
Yeah.
Well, what were you getting at Geelong?
I wouldn't have earned that in 12 years at Geelong.
Really? Is that literally true?
Yeah, because the money that you got, except for Johnny Sharrick and a couple of them, and Polly and those blokes who came down, but the money you got was what the league said you could pay, in those days, and that was very, very little. Might have been $30 a week.
So did they literally slide money across the table, or did they say that?
I said, I'll meet you, but I want to stay at Geelong. I think I want to stay at Geelong.
Yeah.
And they said, well, come on and have a meeting, which we did. We get up there, and I was by myself, and there was Ron Joseph and Albert and Albert Mentallo, Alan Aylett, and they had their solicitor, John Winicky, there.
Mm-hmm. John Winicky was acting for North, was he?
One of those. It was one of the Winicky. I think it was
Michael Winicky.
Might have been Michael. Might have been Michael. And I said, no, look, I'm going to stay with Geelong. And I looked over at the corner of my eye, and Ron Joseph had gone down under the table and picked up I knew exactly what it was.
Don't tell me it was a brown paper bag.
No, but in those days in the bank, they'd bundle the notes up in brown paper with string.
Right.
And that's how they'd stack them, and So I said, no, and he put it on the table and he cut the string. Well, they bundled them very tight. And when it flew open, the notes just slid across the table. And I said, how much is in there? And he said, look, that's yours if you sign. And I said, He said, now, I said, okay, I'll sign on the condition that I have to go back to Geelong and ask them, can they match it? Or I asked for 15,000 for the whole year.
Yep.
Right? And they couldn't match it. So
they refused to match it?
Well, they couldn't. They said they couldn't form it. They just couldn't do it. They had no money.
Okay, so there was 20 grand in front of you on the table.
Yeah.
And a promise that they would pay you 10,000 for the year.
Yeah.
Wow. And
I said, and they said, well, do you want a solicitor? I said, you've got one there, that'll do. That's true as I sit here. So Michael acted for me and for them.
Right, yeah.
I knew that they were feeding him, and they were feeding him.
And they also sold you the dream, did they not?
They did, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
And the dream materialised, didn't it?
It did. I never forget the first meeting we had in Ron Barassi's business, in the furniture business. And he got up and spoke to the team, and I thought, I've made the right decision.
Yeah. After the break, the 1975 flag at North. In 1975, it was your third year at North Melbourne, you win the flag.
Yeah.
But you were lucky to play in that team, weren't you?
Oh, very lucky. Two things. Richard McKelchick injured his knee. I didn't play in the final, in the preliminary final.
That's right. You'd played one final that year, kicked 2 goals against Hawthorn.
Yeah. And then then I was out. I was rested, or I had an injury. Didn't have an injury.
They just,
Yeah, they basically said, well, they didn't say anything. They just said, look, when you're not in the team, And then Richard McKelchick injured his knee, never played again, I don't think, Richard. And so there was a position there.
So that was the 75 grand final.
Yeah, I think I was still out until I actually had a word with him.
Well, I understand that. Now, Alan Aylett, this is my reading of it, my understanding of it. Alan Aylett, the president, was in your corner, and that you both went to Brass and said you were making the plea to play and Aylett supporting you to play. Is that right?
Well, I think Alan said, look, Alan Aylett said, come in and you have your say, and I did.
What did you say, Doug?
I can't remember.
I bet you can.
I said, no, I can't. I basically said, look, I want to play and I won't let you down, that's it.
Okay.
Interesting, though, that I had a knock on the door the Thursday night from Barassi, and he had a chess set in his... And he said, would you like a game of chess?
Really?
And I said, I won't tell you, I can't say what I said.
But well, yes, you can.
No, I can't. You have to bleep it out. Well, I said, I don't want to play chess, Ron. Tell me if I'm in the effing team or not. He said, come inside. He sat down. He said, look, you're in the team, but under one condition. I said, what's that? He said, they will be expecting you to go for marks. I don't want you to go for one mark. I just want you to stand down behind the back of the pack or around the pack, but don't go for a mark. And I said, hey, that's my tools of trade, to take a mark. And he said, look, just leave it to me, will you? I said, okay. And that's what I did. First, the ball came up the first time, it hit the top of the pack, came over the back. I'm in the open goal, kicked a goal. I kicked 4.
Yeah, you did.
Along those lines.
Yeah.
Yeah, without going for...
So it's a masterstroke. I mean, you were, at that time, you were a 6'1", 13.5 stone crummer.
Yeah.
That was your last game, wasn't it? The premiership?
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah. I remember the scenes, they were magnificent scenes the night of the 75 grand final. The first premiership for this footy club. Kids, old people, just almost deliriously happy, weren't they?
We had the big thing at the Southern Cross Hotel in those days. And we couldn't wait for it to finish, to get... everybody was celebrating there, but we wanted to get back to the grounds, We got back there and on the back of a truck and the crowd and the people crying and, it was just great.
But then you went back to Geelong after that. I mean, most players...
I went on the board at North Melbourne then, for a while.
Well, you ended up back at Geelong.
I ended up back at Geelong when Frank Costa took over and asked me to come on board.
Yeah. Doug, fact or fiction? Mark Thompson's future's on the line at Geelong. Brian Cook's doing a review. You and Gareth Andrews believe it's time to change the coach. Is that true?
Pretty much.
Pretty much.
We thought that,
Yeah. Now, one of the stories was...
We were convinced otherwise.
Okay. And did it come to a vote?
It was going to come to a vote, but we felt that it wasn't the right thing to do at that time.
Now, there was a suggestion too that had Bomber gone, that you, Douglas Wade, might have delivered Dennis Pagan to Geelong. Has that got any foundation?
A little bit, yeah.
A little bit. I'll take that as a yes, though. With Geelong, 40-odd years between flags, 63 to 2007. It's a fantastic footy team that you're now supporting, isn't it, this Geelong team? How good?
They were, look...
The period sort of 7 to now.
Just brilliant.
Have you seen anyone better?
I don't think so, no. No, I don't... The culture of the club, from the time Frank Costa took over with Brian Cook and all the people that they got round them, and and the board and that was determined to win a premiership, and we got, is it Talking Heads or is it one of those
leading teams?
Leading teams, yeah. That's right. Simple. Yeah. Talking, I know the puppets, aren't they?
Yeah, leading teams.
Came in and put their culture, in their sort of attitude to the players and what they should do and think, and to the board too. The board went through the whole thing that the players went through, and from that time, I think in the first 4 or 5 games in '97, things were not 2007. Things weren't going all that brilliant, and the players got together and said, "This is crazy. We're better than this." And they came out and beat Richmond and the following match, and then took off. Yeah.
Smashed them at Etihad. How did you feel? Were you able to go to Mark Thompson when he won the flag and congratulate him?
Yeah, look.
And he was receptive.
I was wrong in what I thought. Mark Thompson was fantastic for the football club. I just felt that his attitude in '06 was a little bit, and he was going through a
little bit what?
A little bit negative and a little bit reserved, and but he was going through a time in his life too at that, which was very difficult. And in the finish, Gareth and I both said, "Look, I think he's the man for the job."
And are you friendly with Bomber?
Oh yeah. Bomber's okay. Yeah. He was fantastic for the Geelong Football Club. He left in difficult circumstances, but nobody at Geelong holds that against him.
Okay. 2011, you're on the middle of the MCG. Yeah. Geelong win another flag. You get to do the presentations.
Yeah.
Big thrill?
Oh, fantastic. They got me off a bit quick.
Because,
well, 2 years before that, Bobby stayed on.
He did too.
For the whole photograph. And I was told, I don't know how many times, about 3 or 4 times, as soon as you present the cut, come off. And I hung in for about 2 or 3 seconds and then jumped off.
I want to ask you about the famous, another fact or fiction. You're playing against South Melbourne in 1970 at Geelong. The game's in the balance. You've got a set shot. You run into kick, and someone throws an apple that hits the footy as you drop it. Yeah. Is that true?
That's absolutely true.
You couldn't believe that could happen in the AFL.
Johnny Rantell was on my mark.
Yep.
Jeff Crouch was the umpire, and I was on an angle close to the fence, about 20 metres from inside, and I couldn't believe what happened.
So you're running in?
I dropped the ball, and from the time I dropped the ball, before it hit my boot, the apple had hit the end of the ball and spun it round that way, and when I came through, I hit it on the end, and it just dribbled off into Johnny Rantell's lap.
Yep.
He ran off, and they got up the other end and kicked the goal, made the finals. Wow. I picked up the apple and threw it into the crowd.
That's very nice.
And it's about, I think so far, I've counted about 7 people have owned up to his throwing the apple. Throwing the apple, yeah.
You played on some celebrated fullbacks in your time. Who was the most difficult player to beat?
There was 2. David Dench from North Melbourne and Jeff Southby from Carlton. They were the 2 best.
I would concur with that. I'd probably have Denchy fractionally in front because I love the way he sort of rebounded.
Well, so did Southby too.
True.
Yeah. And if he missed the mark, and he wasn't a big player, Denchy was much taller and harder to take a mark on. But Southby would punch it and have it picked up before he hit the ground.
And Southby backed his skills too, didn't he? If the ball was in the air, he was prepared to take you on.
Yeah.
We go back a long way. Did you know when our relationship started?
Well, can you
our professional relationship.
Thank you.
Yeah. I was
You had to
working.
be worried for it because I thought my memory's gone.
Well, it's the modern era.
I think I'd remember that.
Yeah. 1970.
Yeah.
I'm working for a newspaper called Newsday. I'm in awe of all these big names in football. It was I'd been in Melbourne newspapers for only a few months, and I became your ghostwriter.
You did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the paper lasted 5 months.
I didn't think it'd last that time.
Yeah. Did you get paid?
Yeah, I did get paid for the articles that you wrote.
Yeah. I like the way that was a good arrangement. I said, Doug, what we talk about this week?
Yeah.
And you'd say, you got any ideas?
Yeah, that's right. I had no idea.
No.
I had no idea.
And then you'd say, which is...
You had a little bit more.
Yeah, and you just said to me, look, I'll leave it to you.
Yeah, that's right.
I put words in your mouth that you'd never used in your life.
No. They were good ones, though.
It's been a good life for you, Doug, hasn't it?
It has been a sensational life, yeah.
You've given us a lot of joy with the way you played and just with your all-round bonhomie. You're a sensational player at 2 footy clubs. I mean, the record says that, and the 1,050 goals. I mean, that's a magnificent achievement. You should be proud of it, and it's been great to catch up with you.
Thanks, mate. It's been great.
Good on you, Doug.
Thank you.